Good morning and welcome to the March 19th regular meeting of the Arts and Culture Commission. Roll call, please.
Vice Chair Kusumian,
Here.
Commissioner Hay,
Here.
Commissioner Vidor,
Here.
Commissioner Ako,
Here.
Commissioner Joseph Lynch,
Here.
and Chairperson Zadorian.
Here.
Agenda item 1, the agenda for the March 19th, 2026 regular meeting of the Glendale Arts and Culture Commission was posted on March 16th, 2026 on the bulletin board outside City Hall. Agenda item 2, consent items. A, minutes of the February 17th, 2026 Special Arts and Culture Commission meeting. B, minutes of the February 19th, 2026 regular Arts and Culture Commission meeting. And C, minutes of the February 24th, 2026 Special Arts and Culture Commission meeting.
Okay, did anybody have any comments to make about the minutes? If not, we can get a motion, please.
I'll move to approve all three of the minutes, the two special meetings and the one regular meeting.
Do we have a second?
I'll second it.
Roll call, please.
Roll call, Vice Chair Kusumian,
Yes.
Commissioner Hay,
Yes.
Commissioner Vidor,
Yes.
and Chairperson Zadorian.
Yes.
Agenda item 3A, introductions and presentations, library arts and culture events presented by Loretto Lopez, Program Coordinator. Generaciones en Acción proposes a groundbreaking project featuring a theatrical performance, Si Te Ríes Cosas, performed in Spanish on Saturday, March 21st from 2 to 5 p.m. at Glendale Central Library. This initiative harnesses the power of laugh therapy to increase awareness and broaden access to culturally competent mental health resources within Latino communities. For more information, please visit the link on the screen. Calling all writers, the Glendale Poet Laureate Program invites you to Glendale Central Library for the next installment of our workshop reading series on Saturday, March 28th from 11 a.m. to 2 p.m. Attendees will develop poems and explore craft alongside featured poets. This workshop is free and open to the public, and all levels of experience and language backgrounds are welcome. To register, please visit the link on the screen. Glendale Library Arts and Culture invites you to join a series of virtual author talks in partnership with the Library Speakers Consortium. On Thursday, April 2nd at 11 a.m., join us for an exhilarating journey through the history of U.S. women astronauts with Valerie Neal, Emerita Curator from the Smithsonian's National Air and Space Museum, and expert on human spaceflight. On a mission spans 45 years and 61 astronauts to share the epic journeys of women who made space for themselves in a male-dominated field. For more information, please visit the link on the screen. Please join us in celebration of Armenian culture, history, and heritage during a joyous community event at the Glendale Central Library on Saturday, April 11th from 10 a.m. to 1 p.m. Experience the culinary diaspora of Armenia through food samplings from local Glendale restaurants at Armot, a celebration of culinary roots. For more information, please visit the link on the screen. Your opinion matters. Take the Glendale Library Arts and Culture Strategic Planning Survey and help plan the future of Glendale libraries. The survey takes about 10 minutes to complete and is open through Wednesday, April 15th. Entries that provide an email address will be entered in an opportunity drawing to win a $50 gift card. The survey is available in English, Spanish, and Armenian. To take the survey, please visit the link on the screen. The Library Arts and Culture Department is seeking proposals from poets interested in the role of Poet Laureate. The selected Poet Laureate will serve as an ambassador for Glendale's rich culture and diversity by promoting the art of poetry. Compensation will be $8,000 for services for 1 year. The deadline to apply is Friday, April 17th at 5 p.m. For more information and to apply, please visit the link on the screen. Agenda item 4, written communications, there are none. Agenda item 5, oral communications, there are none. Agenda item 6, first we'll address 6B, Alex Film Society sponsorship opportunity. Motion approving 1, the funding of a proposal by the Alex Film Society to provide programming associated with the Classics Under the Star series at Brand Park from June through September 2026. And 2, the sponsorship of programming in an amount not to exceed $5,000 from the 2025 to 2026 work plan.
Good morning, Commissioners. I just wanted to notate that we are moving agenda item 6B up.
So that's for the record. We do have the board of the Alex Film Society that we'd like to invite up here to present on the opportunity.
Good morning. My name is Stephen Meek. I'm on the Alex Film Society board. We and our partners, the Glendale Historical Society, the Brand Associates, the Northwest Neighborhood Association, and Glendale Parks Department, have hosted these outdoor movies for the last 3 years at Brand Park Doctor's House lawn. Our mission is to show the value of preserving classic films and showing them to audiences for the preservation, education, and entertainment. Our nonprofit partners each introduce one of the films and inform the attendees about their organization, giving historical facts and anecdotes, and introduce a classic short film. Through the cooperation of our partners, our attendance has increased for each year that we've been doing this, and with the addition of the Arts and Culture Commission grant, we were able to add a 4th date to last year's screenings. The Doctor's House venue at Brand Park has become a place to sit back, relax, have a picnic, and free popcorn. Our work with the Parks Department and Arts and Culture has been wonderful and very helpful. Our partners send out information to their members, and the Parks Department adds these films to their leisure guide, and our city manager puts it in his newsletter. We are asking the Glendale Arts and Culture Commission to join us again in offsetting the costs of presenting these films that we do for free for the public and continue us into the future. Please consider supporting our entertainment and community and continue making Glendale an arts city. I'm accompanied by 2 other board members, Frank Gladstone and Randy Carter. I would like to introduce them now and let them have a little talk with you also. Randy?
Hi there. My name is Randy Carter. I'm the current president of the Alex Film Society, and we're like in our 27th, 28th year. And one of the things that I wanted to bring to the commission was City Council has invited and encouraged all Glendale nonprofits to work together. Well, baby, this is a great example of that, because you couldn't be more Glendale-centric than Brand Associates, the Glendale Historical Society, the Alex Film Society, and the Northwest Glendale Homeowners Association. And really, the reason that we did it was we're all marginally funded organizations, and we thought, well, if we all join together, maybe we can do email blasts and promote, the event, and somehow 4 of us working together can produce a crowd. And it's been very successful. The one thing I'll say is the very fortunate thing is that we have the location of the Doctor's House, which is really a gourmet location to sit under the stars and watch a film. So we're very, very fortunate to have that. I do want to give a shout out to all of the Glendale departments, Mari Mansourian in the city manager's office, who takes great care to get us listed in the city manager's monthly newsletter. The libraries, Brand Library, all of the social media avenues that the city have pitched in. So this is truly a Glendale-centric event. That's my 2 cents. And now I'll pass the torch to Frank Gladstone.
Hi, everybody. I used to sit up there a long time ago. And the one thing I want to ask you first is, which one of you has candy in the drawer? Because there's always somebody.
It's the council members.
Anyway, this year what we want to show is Dumbo. In the past years, we've shown Alice in Wonderland, we showed Lady and the Tramp, and this year we wanted to show Dumbo. Now, Dumbo is problematic. It always has been. It has 2 sequences in it, the roustabout sequence, and then most especially the crow sequence near the end. I don't know how many of you are familiar with the film. It and Alice in Wonderland were the 2 films that Disney released first to home video many years ago. And I teach, in fact, this afternoon when I'm teaching at Cal State Long Beach, I teach history of animation because I've been around for about half of it. Dumbo, I will be teaching Dumbo to kids in college, both not only animation students, but it's an open course to the whole school. So I get biology majors and engineers and nursing and so forth. Just people who really love animation. The animation students have to take it. But I'll be teaching Dumbo this afternoon, and I always, in the teaching, go through the fact that this is a film of its time. And of its time was right before World War II. In fact, Dumbo came out about 3 weeks or so before the attack at Pearl Harbor. And Dumbo became a success in light of that because it was what people needed at the time, especially when they wanted to bring their kids somewhere and not have them think only about the war. And so, but it does have these two areas that have been accused of racism for nearly since the beginning. The roustabout sequence is when they're building a tent, and it has shadow figures of human beings that you can attribute and say, well, these are black people. It doesn't say that, but it seems that. And then the crows at the end, who are definitely have, as a matter of fact, they're black actors except for the main crow, which was the guy who played Jiminy Cricket too. But it has black actors as the voices, and they use patois of the time. And you say, well, that's racist. The fact is, if you look at it through a lens of 1940, which I ask my students to do, what they are is the people who have the solution to Dumbo's problem, and they think of the solution and they do the solution. So they're kind of heroes at the same time they are stereotypes. And that's the lens that I ask my students to do, and that's what I talk about when I show films like The Three Little Pigs, with a very famous cartoon, which has Jewish issues in it, and other films, the Fantasia. Even in Snow White, there's a brief element of racism, if you want to call it that. What I call it is films of the time. Look at them that way, and then look at them as entertainment. And that's what I will do when I introduce Dumbo. Because it is a cultural phenomenon. It's a very good film. It was one of only 2 films that made money at the time. The other one was Snow White. Fantasia and Pinocchio did not. Neither did Bambi. So we have those issues. We have those issues with live action films too. Any film from the time, and I guess the films we make now, 30, 40, 50, 80 years from now, will be considered old-fashioned and something to be careful with. Well, okay, let's be careful with it, but let's enjoy it as well by looking at it and seeing it for what it is. And Dumbo is a very interesting film in a lot of ways. So that's what I want to do. And when we show films like that, especially animated films, which oftentimes deal with cartoonish versions of people, we talk about it. In my class today, I'll talk about it, and my students will like it. They usually do. There's about 120 of them. So I want to thank you, and if you have any questions, I'll be happy to answer them.
Okay, let's maybe go down the list with Vice Chair Kasumian. Did you have any questions or comments?
I hope this time around, after the screening of Dumbo, we don't go into World War III. But, and I mean that with all seriousness. But I feel like it'll be a nice event to be a part of this summer, especially the coming months will be really hot. And Dumbo sounds like a animated film would be fun for everybody to watch.
Yeah, it's also the shortest animated feature ever, 63 minutes. So it is a short film.
Is this going to be a weekly presentation or a monthly?
No,
the
the Classics Under the Stars happens once a month from June through September. And the other films are live action films. So we usually show an animated film. We've shown Alice in Wonderland, we've shown Pinocchio, and we'll show Dumbo this year. So there you go. No, we showed, we showed which one was it, Randy? Yeah, I forgot. Lady and the Tramp the other year, which has issues itself. We are Siamese, if you please. So, and we did okay with that one too.
Commissioner Hyde?
Well, yes, I definitely have a comment about Alex Film Society, but don't worry, it's a positive one. There's something truly magical about cinema. Film is not just entertainment. It is memory, emotion, history, and imagination captured in light. It allows us to travel through time to experience lives we've never lived and to feel emotions that unite us across generations. And when film is experienced outdoors, under the open sky, surrounded by community, it becomes something even more special. It becomes an event, a shared moment, a memory in the making. Classics Under the Stars is exactly that. It brings people together, not in isolation, but in connection. Families, friends, neighbors, and visitors gathered at Brown Park not just to watch a film, but to experience something timeless together. The laughter, the silence, the music, the stories, they're all shared. And is that shared experience, community is strengthened. What I find especially meaningful is the focus on classic films. In a world that moves so quickly, where content is consumed and forgotten in seconds, this program invites us to slow down, to appreciate, to remember. These films are not just old, they're foundational. They represent artistry, storytelling, and cultural moments that shape generations. By presenting them, the Alex Film Society is not just screening films, they're preserving cultural heritage. And importantly, they're making it accessible, free, open to the public, welcoming to all. This is what true culture programming looks like. It removes barriers and creates opportunities for everyone to participate. The setting itself, Brown Park, with its beauty and history, adds another layer of meaning. It transforms a simple screening into an immersive cultural experience where art, nature, and community come together in harmony. And the funding being requested, while modest in scale, plays a vital role. It helps ensure that these experiences continue, that licensing and programming needs are met, and that Glendale residents can enjoy high-quality cultural offerings right in their own city. This is exactly what kind of initiative we, as an Arts and Culture Commission, are here to champion. Because arts and culture are not luxuries, they're necessities. They bring people together, they educate, they inspire, and they remind us of our shared humanity. And perhaps, most importantly, they create memories. Memories of sitting under the stars, watching the story unfold on a screen, being surrounded by community, and feeling, even for a moment, connected to something greater. For all of these reasons, I fully support this sponsorship and express my endorsement of the Alex Film Society and their beautiful initiative, Classics Under the Stars. Because when we invest in the arts, we don't just fund programs. We create experiences that stay with people for a lifetime. So thank you.
Thank you, and free popcorn for that guy.
That should replace the Nicole Kidman AMC ad. Yeah. That was great.
Very good.
Thank you. Okay, Commissioner Vidor?
Well, I don't have anything prepared. I'm just going to speak extemporaneously here and say I'm glad you're back again to get our support, and I enthusiastically endorse the amount of money you're asking for and that you're continuing successfully with the film festival or film program, and wish you the best with it. So thanks for being here.
Thank you.
Commissioner Alcock?
Hi, just a question. Is this event targeted towards children, or can anyone of any age come?
Anyone of any age, to all the movies, they can come. Sometimes we show a film noir, usually a dark film. Yeah, it's not so much for kids, but it's rated so the kids can go. Oh. So and Dumbo, of course, is rated G. But this one, we like to do an animated one first. First of all, the sun sets later, so the animation is really bright, so it tends to stay on the screen okay earlier. And since we've started it, we've always started with an animated film. It seems to be fine. Yeah. Then we usually do a musical, a comedy, and a drama of some sort.
Okay, that's great. I love this idea, and I wish you the best of luck with it.
Thanks. Come get free popcorn.
Of course, yeah. I'll bring all my friends.
You know.
Okay, Commissioner Joseph Lynch?
I think that your initiative is absolutely wonderful. I appreciate that you have a care to the attention of, you're focusing on, you want a film for some of the adults with the film noir, you want some film for the kids with Dumbo. I think that that's all really valuable for our community, and I appreciate that you're doing it.
Thanks, guys.
Thank you. Before I make my comments, I just want to turn to staff if anybody has comments, specifically the director. Yes.
I want to echo everyone's comments on how grateful we are for the Alex Film Society and especially for the Films Under the Stars series. I think it's a beautiful and wonderful community event that allows free access to films that folks might not have exposure to otherwise. Because of the nature of this event and how kind of lighthearted and open air it is, I'm very curious, with your history as a film professor, while I can certainly appreciate the place that Dumbo has in cinematic history and in a film class where you get to have really deep discussions on how those films fit in today's world, how are you going to address the issues with this film, as well as the issues with the John Wayne film in an environment which is supposed to be fun and lighthearted and community building, especially when it may not be welcoming to all when they feel maybe their identity and their stereotype are being mocked.
Right. First of all, when I talk about this, especially in that format, and when I'm teaching class, it's a different thing. We go in a heavy discussion. So it's not a heavy discussion. It's letting people know that there may be parts and advising people to remember it is a film of its time, and that at the time, our country, our world, was accepting of things that today seem a little outdated.
If I may, some of our country, those who were in power were accepting of those, but the people that are being stereotyped and mocked were not appreciative of those. Right.
Dumbo did not get a huge reaction from the Black community at the time, but other films did. Mm-hmm. And when I'm teaching and we go to those films, I read what they said. And NAACP was hot on the trail of some of the Warner Brothers shorts.
Absolutely.
And also Walter Land shorts. So when that happens, and that's part of my class actually, as Dumbo will lead into another set of my class that talks about racism and wartime stereotypes and so forth, which is actually not this week, next week in class. So there you go.
Which is wonderful, but how are you going to address it for the kids who are there, for the families that are there, who may not be aware of the history that you're teaching in your class, but are going to watch the movie for the first time and maybe not feel like they're actually welcome in that space?
Well, again, I'm not going to be very heavy about it. Because generally people, this was the first thing that Disney released to home video back in the day. I'm going to say there are parts of this that today seem a little dated and old-fashioned, and views of race that are that, thank goodness, have gone the way of history, at least hopefully. And that's from you and I. And then because especially with young kids, they may go, "What are they talking about? It's a bunch of birds, talking about." And actually, they have a great song, and it's very, So I will downplay it, but not ignore it.
And can you also add, that of course the city doesn't condone these types of things and the historical context for it, as well as for John Wayne.
Yeah.
Because he, of course, has his own slew of issues. And, I think as we're all experiencing with this week's news, when our heroes are fallen, it can be very difficult and to see those representations.
It is. When I talk to my class, I say, you're watching from two lenses. Watch from the lens of think about, I'm sitting in a 1935 movie.
Which is wonderful, again, for a film class, but we're talking about movies in a beautiful part.
It's a little complicated. and then also watch it with the other lens, which is a lens from now. And my students dig that. They understand that. But I won't go that deep in this. This will be comments, a kind of a warning, but a light one that you may see things that seem odd to you for the kids. But remember, this is an old film, and the Crows, in fact, were kind of heroes in this thing. So they actually, although we look at them and go, they're stereotypical, they were kind of the ones who figured out the problem. So that happens too.
I would like to just add my comments before we do another round. I did have a discussion, and I think it would be best to just have a disclaimer before the film. There's always the concern of what about people that come halfway through? Having this disclaimer also at the end of the film. And that is a caveat that I will include with my endorsement of this sponsorship. And I don't think that there would be a problem. And I have it written out. I don't want to repeat it right now. I can just forward it to you guys. but within it, it's, referencing the historical context of the film, but saying that these depictions do not reflect the City of Glendale's commitment to diversity, inclusion, and respect for all people, as well as there is more, of course, in there in referencing imagery and characterizations that are outdated and harmful, and including the John Wayne film. I would love a disclaimer for that as well. And within that, while he's an influential figure in American film history, we still need to, address some of those public concerns and views regarding his films. So I think that we can enjoy the artistic value of these films, but we need to address the harm that it can do to our community and make sure that Glendale's also including that conversation, that we do not condone this type of harmful or offensive imagery.
Right.
And if you guys are okay with that, I have no problem moving forward and supporting as we have done in the past.
That won't be difficult. At the before we have the film, we have what I fondly refer to as the commercials, but it's basically all the people, the groups that have supported us get a part of the video before we go, and then we can actually put that disclaimer on the screen.
Yeah.
Both at the beginning and at the end.
Absolutely, because I've seen that done and with a lot of films that I watch now that are very old and that have not so nice depictions. So I think that would be a great way to do it.
Whoopi Goldberg famously for the Warner Brothers releases, because there's a lot of stuff in Warner Brothers, and they made more short films than anybody else too. And there's about 11 or 12 that are really, wow, really? And Whoopi Goldberg has a statement in those videos. It basically says that. To ignore it is to ignore history, but to have it, and with the understanding you may see something that triggers you.
Thank you. So I'm just going to open up if anyone had, I know a few other people had comments. So we'll go back to Vice Chair Kasoumian.
I have to be honest, the last time I watched Dumbo, I was a child, so I did not notice any of the racial remarks because I was a child and oblivious and ignorant at the time. I did notice the animal abuse, which was plain to see. I would like to maybe have you guys somehow acknowledge the difference our society and our people made to make sure racial comments and associations were made to prevent it for future filmmaking, and just to show how far we have come from what was normal back then and what we don't consider normal and appropriate in today's society. Right. We cannot erase what has happened, and we should not, because we've come a long way from what we thought society was normal back then and what we think to be now. Because it's taken a lot of courageous voices to stand up and make the effort to change what was happening before and what we think is normal and appropriate today.
Yeah, even in those days, there were people that mentioned that Dumbo.
Yeah, and we hope to.
It was acceptable. It was acceptable, but there were people that said, and as Dumbo and the other films, and there's stuff even in Snow White. There's a couple of seconds of things that seemed to be funny at the time, so. Yes, we've come a long way.
Absolutely. As a child, you don't notice.
There's ways still to go.
Yeah, and hopefully this will be for people and children to know they could still speak up for future films to come and current films.
And interestingly, though, you said when you were a kid and saw it, when you were little, it didn't affect you. You just saw it as a film, as a cartoon.
Yes, because for me it didn't matter black or white, Armenian or anything else.
And so you don't want to scare children into watch out for this scene. At the same time, you want to let people know that
aware that it was
there are
wrong.
issues. This scene is coming up.
Yes.
Yeah.
Okay, Commissioner Vidor, I know you had a comment.
Yeah, I hear you strongly what you said and support it. I also agree with the chair about, just to be careful and cover what concerns might come up that won't be able to be addressed at the film series. But I also feel sensitive to the comments that our leaders made recently. And I think that it's this type of thing, yes, that is a film of its time. You know, Birth of a Nation was film of its time. We've got a lot of that. Breakfast at Tiffany's, a very famous and obvious discussion opportunity. But, you know, I always think that these types of situations are great learning opportunities. Now, how you make it a learning opportunity in the context of a wonderful film series, Under the Stars, I'm not sure that can be orchestrated. If there's going to be anything at the end, like, oh, does anybody have any comments or whatever. But I think if you look, you know, I watch a lot of content and see movies, and everything we're talking about here is going on right now in a different context, in a different time, but the same type of thing. Pushing the envelope or exposing us to behaviors and prejudices that we know are or should be obsolete, but they're still being acted out and expressed in media, in television and movies. And if I would have known we were going to have this discussion today, I would have brought my laundry list of television shows and films where the envelope was pushed purposely to get people now to talk about it and how they feel about things now, not about something that happened in the past. So I think this is just an early stage in a long line of public discussions that are going to go on forever, because the things that you're talking about in Dumbo in their time being potentially offensive, the same exact things are going on now. And people are still pushing buttons, sometimes unknowingly, sometimes purposefully, that should cause us to talk about it and maybe even argue a little bit about it. So any kind of open dialogue we can foster on this topic, I think ultimately is a good thing.
Yeah, I do too.
Okay.
That's all I have to say.
If there are no other comments, we can move forward. And if we have a motion, and of course, we are accepting of this with that caveat of a disclaimer at the beginning and the end of the films. And I can forward what I have written out, which I think will cover most of your bases. But and if you're willing to use it and make your life easier, we can go ahead and get a motion on the floor.
Okay, I'll make a motion since I'm the motion person. I'll make a motion that we approve the stated amount for support of this season's Alex Film Society offerings, with the caveat that where appropriate, we produce disclaimers at the front and the back. And just as an aside, that's the motion, but just as an aside, you know, at the Brand Library, if there are controversial pieces of art or that may be interpreted as obscene by somebody, disclaimers are very common, and it's appreciated, and so I don't think it's any kind of an alarming thing. It goes on all the time in the art world and film too. So,
Do we have a second?
I'll second it.
Great. Roll call, please.
Vice Chair Kusumian,
Yes?
Commissioner Hay,
Yes.
Commissioner Vidor,
yes.
and Chairperson Zadorian.
Yes. Thank you, everybody, for a very healthy discussion and dialogue.
Good discussion.
And thank you all. Thank you.
Off to class.
Good luck.
Moving back to agenda item 6A, Armenian Dress and Textile Project Sponsorship Opportunity. Motion approving 1, the funding of a proposal by Armenian Dress and Textile Project to provide programming associated with the timeline of our ancestors' costumes, textiles, and stories exhibit from May 2nd through May 30th, 2026 at Lita V Art Gallery. And 2, the sponsorship of programming in an amount not to exceed $5,568 from the 2025 to 2026 work plan.
Commissioners, we want to invite Tina Demerjian here, who's the founder of Armenian Dress and Textiles Project, to share about this opportunity.
Hello, everyone. Thank you so much. I'm grateful to have this opportunity to present the Armenian Dress and Textile Project. And I'll start like this. The story begins before any of us were born, when thread was first discovered and dowries were offered. If we could reach that far back, perhaps we would glimpse the seed that sowed itself into us. This is the journey we take to find the stories of our ancestors and of the women who birthed us long before our mothers were born. It is a story of lace and cloth, of weaving and sewing, of birth, death, and rebirth. I started the Armenian Dress and Textile Project 27 years ago, in my grandmother's house, with a moment of understanding that I stood before this huge collection I didn't know about. My grandmother, sorry.
No, take your time, please.
My grandmother, Shaina Dilsizyan, was a keeper. And I understood that she had made me a keeper because she would tell me stories I didn't want to hear over and over again. And I would tell her, can you change the ending, please? Can we have a different part of the story? It was the only time she got mad at me when I was 9 years old. But at this point, 27 years ago, I was in my 30s. And I understood that seeing this huge collection of things that I thought she told me everything, but she had hidden them, not hidden them, but had just placed them in the closets in what we would call in Turkish, actually, not technically Armenian, bohças. Bohças are wrappings of cloth that many cultures used over the millennia to preserve culture, to preserve clothing and textiles. And what we found had actually survived genocide, survived overseas migration, had survived time, which, had been a lot of time. And all of a sudden, we found a piece of not just ourselves, but of a whole culture. And not only the culture I come from, but all cultures who didn't have the opportunity to save these things. And it was so far away. I mean, it came all the way from Turkey. When my great-grandmother came, and some of it was brought before, and I'll talk about that. When my great-grandmother came after World War II, it was the first boat that left that part of the world after the war. And when she got here, she had a huge trunk, the trunks that we see from so long ago that no longer exist. And it had kept all of these things. Now, when I saw this, all I could think of is I found my ancestors and I don't want to leave them in Queens, New York. They need to come back. But I lived on Milford Avenue in Glendale in a studio apartment, So my place smelled like mothballs for a very long time. And yet I kept these things there, and I already understood that I was going to create something. Now, we had created it, I called it the Armenian Dress and Textile Project, understanding, of course, that all the costumes that we had were not traditional Armenian costumes, but costumes worn by Armenians that lived in Constantinople and in other areas of Europe and you could call the Middle East, that were Western. But then we also found costumes of the fathers, the great-grandfather, from what is called Gesaria or Kayseri Turkey. In English, it's Caesarea, which is smack in the middle of the country and on the edge of what was considered Armenia Major. Now, what this work has done over the years, starting in 2001, when I realized that we can get some money, we started with the California Council on Humanities back then, and we were able to have an exhibit for 1 month also at the doctor's house, 2001. Some years went by, we had it again there. And what would happen there is I would see grandmothers coming up and talking, and not just Armenian as well, but people from Guatemala, from the Middle East, from other cultures saying, oh, that's the drawn thread work, where you have a piece of cloth and you calculate what threads you pull in order to create squares in the middle of a piece of cloth. So these were what, you know, one of the things that this dress project does is, on the one hand, it helps reflect, for others to reflect where they come from, who they've become, what stories they carry with them, what objects they have with them, and objects they don't have with them. And then it also highlights the work done by women from so many cultures, in so many lives for millennia. So with that, the work that we're going to have presented for the month of May includes a variety of ways for the public to connect with themselves and with each other. So, for example, Edwardian costumes of Constantinople. Dr. Sophie Khachmanian, who has a PhD, which she barely had a bachelor's when we first started this project, now has a PhD and has redesigned one of my great-grandmother's dresses, and will talk about women's dress and costumes as well, and the process. This is also where our connection isn't just about families understanding themselves, but of organizations like the Costume Society and the Textile Guilds also being part of learning about some of the pieces that help history come alive. That's on May 2nd. On Saturday, we will have Ornament Revival, Archives, and Ancestral Technologies through the Folk Lounge, which is also a collective that goes throughout Los Angeles and has embroidery, not just demonstrations, but gatherings. We will also have Family Day at L'Itavi Art Gallery, where families, in the back of the gallery, there's an open space. They're going to create a keepsake that they get to take home, and that's presented by Elmira Adamian, who is an arts educator at the Getty. Then we will have Woven Metaphors, me, truly, arts educator, poet. We have to write poetry. There's no way that we can escape it. Some people know that I am a big advocate of that. And Community Voices will be the final gathering. It's really people being allowed to bring things, if they want to, from their families and tell stories. Along with all of this is an opportunity for us as a collective to gain and deepen partnerships with a couple of the universities that have Armenian studies programs, but also with communities, like I said, the Costume Society and a couple of textile collectives as well, to really make connections and broaden the voices of the people who created these, but also of the public as well. So what we ask is to be able to be supported, to be able to have a lot of this work kind of easily and smoothly transferred to working in the gallery, and also in making it an opportunity that goes beyond us, you know, and looking at other potential funding in the future from other organizations as well, to continue a lot of the research that has been done because of this project. So I thank you for giving me the time and the opportunity to address the Armenian Dress and Textile Project and to answer any questions that you might have.
Thank you for that fabulous presentation. We'll start with Vice Chair Kasumyan.
I think that's a beautiful idea to bring back what our timeless, showcase timeless fashions and culture. So I look forward to hearing more about it and seeing it in person.
Great. Thank
So
you.
just a question, did your grandmother, how did she end up in New York?
Yes, how did that happen? Yeah. So after the genocide, I'm from the East Coast myself. I mean, I've been here for over 30 years. But after the genocide, first my grandfather was sent to Columbia University. So he graduated Columbia in 1927. This part gets a little tricky. So when his father, my great-grandfather, said, "So, have you met any girls, like, you know, in the United States, in New York?" He said no. I guess he was very shy, had a lot of anxiety, but went to Columbia And he said, but I like my cousin Shaine. Yes, his cousin. That's who he felt. She was 10 years his junior. And so they got married. She came to the United States at the age of 17 to New York. And, you know, they lived in Queens all their life. And that's where a lot of Armenian families definitely gathered in the New York area, especially post-genocide, and they were one of them.
Thank you.
It's a wonderful story. Thank you. Commissioner Hai?
Thank you, Tina, for your presentation. It was really informative and emotional. And now I rise not only in support of just a proposal, but in support of something far deeper, memory, identity, and the living thread that connects generations across time. The Armenian Dress and Textile Project exhibition, Timeline of Our Ancestors' Costumes, Textiles, and Stories, is not simply a display of garments. It is a journey through history, stitched with resilience, shaped by survival, and illuminated by culture. Every thread in this textile carries a story. Stories of families, of traditions preserved against all odds, of people who carried their heritage across continents and generations. These are not just fabrics, they're living archives of identity. Here in Glendale, this resonates profoundly. Our city is not only diverse, it is deeply rooted in cultural richness, and the Armenian community is an essential part of that fabric. Supporting this exhibition means honoring that contribution, while also inviting every member of our broader community to learn, to feel, and to connect. What moves me most about this project is its intention, not just to preserve history, but to activate it. Through workshops, storytelling gatherings, and artistic engagement, this initiative transforms culture from something we observe into something we experience. It brings people together, young and old, Armenian and non-Armenian alike, to discover shared humanity through art. And that is exactly what arts and culture should do. It should educate, yes, but also inspire. It should preserve, but also connect. It should honor the past, but also shape the future. The Armenian Dress and Textile Project embodies all of those values. It brings together artists, scholars, institutions, and community members in a way that reflects the very best of what cultural collaboration can achieve. And importantly, the investment we're being asked to make is modest, yet the impact is profound. This is a rare opportunity where a relatively small contribution can yield lasting cultural, educational, and emotional value for our city. By supporting this project, we're not just funding an exhibition, we're validating stories, we're preserving heritage, we're strengthening community bonds, and we're reminding ourselves and future generations where we come from. Because when we understand our ancestors, we better understand ourselves. For all of the reasons, I stand firmly behind this initiative, and I wholeheartedly and enthusiastically support this sponsorship. Thank you.
Thank you. Commissioner Alkop? Oh, sorry, Commissioner Vidor, I apologize.
Sorry. Well, thank you, Tina. I remember very vividly your work at the doctor's house, and can't wait to see the new iteration of this beautiful project. I'm not familiar with Litavi. Is that how it's pronounced?
Litavi.
Litavi Gallery. I assume that things don't get sold here. This is an exhibition in a museum sense of
Yes.
people coming in.
It is a commercial gallery, it's true, for
yes,
other
right,
exhibits.
but-
Yes,
but
this
that's
is
not-
a special opportunity. We've, partnered together.
Exactly, yeah, and I think that's a great idea for galleries to engage in projects like this that are so community-oriented. And I assume that there's no admission fee either.
There's no admission
Okay.
fee.
Well, I think it's wonderful. I wish you the best, and I am looking forward to being there for this. Thank you so
That'll be
much
wonderful. Thank you.
for everything you do in Glendale.
Thanks.
Commissioner Alkop?
I just want to say thank you for sharing your wonderful story with the commission And I particularly like this exhibit because it reminds me of my childhood. I went to Armenian school ever since I was in first grade all the way up until high school. And we would have these cultural days where all the students would dress up in traditional Armenian clothing and outfits, and it just brings back good memories. So I can't wait to see more from this exhibit.
Thank you.
Commissioner Joseph Lynch.
As someone who's both Armenian myself and very involved in art, I really appreciate the fact that you're blending textiles with culture and community. That's something that I've always tried to do in the ceramic projects that I create, and it's really, really nice to see somebody else with that same kind of initiative.
Thank you.
If there's no staff comments, I can go ahead and kind of close out the discussion. First, I would love to say that your story is incredible. I can see just how emotionally invested you are in this. Of course, you know, this is your lineage. This is your direct connection to your family, and a lot of loss and tragedy as well. I'm in full support. I just had a few questions.
Sure.
I would love to know what the funds for 5,568, which is incredibly specific, and I love that. What will they be going towards?
I did a lot of research trying to. They're going to go for everything to clay, to embroidery hoops, to books and pencils, but especially, I have to say, printing costs.
Okay.
That is probably the largest. It will be some labor kind of included in that as well as things like tablecloth, a couple of extra tables that we don't have currently. I have it all. Oh, so the U-Haul. So we got, for example, in-kind dress forms, but we need the labor and the transportation costs from Santa Monica College to here, you know, things like that as well.
Will it be going towards marketing as well for the events?
Yes, well, the flyers and some small posters to put at select places will definitely be going to part of it.
Okay.
And programs, actually, that's the other thing, for people when they come in.
Okay. And then I just had a question about you. Do you consider yourself the artist here? What would you consider yourself?
Right. Well, I do consider myself as an artist, an arts educator, and culture bearer. So it's not just me, though. I'm not the only person who's an artist. Dr. Sophie Khachmanian is an artist. She's a textile artist, and she's also a researcher. For example, she got a PhD, and her dissertation has just been published in Armenian, is being translated to English, on the symbols of the Catholicos, which is, by the way, like the Armenian Pope, the Catholicos' vestments. So she has really taken this early on project and created something of her own not just livelihood, but just mission for herself in the work that she does. So I do consider myself the artist, but kind of the producer as well, and the culture bearer. Yeah, I'm the one that started. I'm the one that gets everybody together. They meet at my house, you know, and then we're a collective after that. Yeah.
Okay. I love that. And, you know, it's actually very serendipitous. I happened to be driving by Litavi the day before I got the agenda, and I was like, I've never seen this art gallery before. What is this? Why have I never been to an event there? I even texted a council member, have you heard of this art gallery? And he told me a little bit about it. And then I got the agenda. I said, okay, this is exciting. Because you know, we want to bring in more art galleries into Glendale, especially when they're private spaces. Why not take advantage of that? So I'm happy to attend these events and see your incredible curation and your heritage on display. So thank you very much.
Thank you.
If there are no further comments or questions, we can go ahead and make a motion.
All right.
Motion bearer.
I'll make a motion with great enthusiasm to approve the stated amount, which number was incredibly specific. We'll have to talk about that offline.
Yeah,
and that we accept the sponsorship at that amount for the Armenian Dress and Textile Project by Tina Demirjian. Produced by Tina Demirjian, who is an artist, a poet herself.
Do we have a second?
I will gladly second it.
let's do roll call.
Roll call, Vice Chair Kasumian,
Yes.
Commissioner Hay,
Yes.
Commissioner Vidor,
Yes.
and Chairperson Zadorian.
Absolutely, yes. Thank you so much. and
Thank
good
you
luck.
so much.
We
Thank you. I
forward to
look
it.
forward to seeing you all there. And either you will make something, write a poem. So we'll see. Thank you so much, everyone.
Thank you. Good luck.
Thank you.
Agenda item 7A, discussion items, 2025 to 2026 work plan progress updates.
Commissioners, we just have two quick updates. The first is that on February 28th, we celebrated the installation of the tile artwork at Fremont Park. I do want to thank Commissioner Vidor and Commissioner Akop for attending. I don't know if you want to share about the artwork or the event or your experience.
It was beautiful. It's a beautiful thing, and I hope everybody gets over there to see it. I'll admit I was a little sad that the artist, Cara, and her husband and baby had come from New York for the opening, and it was, other than Stephen Meek and Kathy Horrenda, who are big arts advocates, as we all know, there wasn't anyone else there, and I wanted to dig in a little bit into what we can do in the future, and maybe ACE can contribute to the discussion, since they're our publicity arm, and I assume that they had a hand in this, to talk about how we can make these events more known. It was great to see post-event publicity in the paper, but it was very disappointing not to see anything before the event. And my assumption was, you know, I had this anticipation that this was going to be maybe not a hugely attended event, but more attendance than it was, especially considering how far the artist came to be a part of it. So I wonder if staff has any comments about that or thoughts about it. I'd like to hear from you.
Yeah, well, first of all, thank you both for attending. I think one of the things is this is a learning opportunity. This is the first time we've done an event like this where we have invited people to attend the installation of an artwork. So now we know moving forward how we would like to proceed in doing that. This was also in tandem with the reopening of Fremont Park. There was a huge celebration for the opening of Fremont Park. So the city has kind of celebrated that as a huge event. And I think moving forward, we can definitely plan on marketing opportunities, working with our PR firm, and of course we have the post opportunities. But I think moving forward, it's a great opportunity to think ahead and plan. And of course, we want our commission support in attending the events, in addition to other commission supports when they're involved, and other city departments as well.
Thank you.
Commissioner Alcock?
I do agree with Commissioner Vidor that attendance was a little low. But other than that, it was a great time. We walked around the park, got to see some amazing artwork, and have some portos as well.
I wasn't at the event, but I go to Fremont Park all the time because my sister's kids happen to love it, and it's a really incredible park. It has everything you would need. It's massive. There's basketball games, soccer games. There's just everything going on, and a really nice playground. So I happened to see it, and it adds the exact type of color that we need in our city. It was beautiful and stunning to look at. Unfortunately, I couldn't make it to that event, but I'm really glad that we had this and that we have little pieces to take home with us, and it's beautiful. So thank you very much to the artists for that.
One more thing to say. I think it's a beautiful piece. I agree with you. But as we walked around with the artist and she showed us and explained to us what was depicted, you know, there were a number of wildflowers that I admit I've never heard of, and there's a great learning opportunity there, and I wondered if there is any chance for some didactic thing or a QR code or something to explain to people what those flowers are, because they're all very kind of obscure native California flowers. So.
Yeah, I think that's a great suggestion. Now we can talk to the Parks Department about potentially posting a didactic, and then we can also have our Arts and Culture Commission website house some of that information from Cara.
Thank you.
The other update we have is the Performance Series Committee met to review applications for the 2 series for the Brand Summer Music Series and the Jewel City Concert Series. I do want to thank Vice Chair Kasumian and Commissioner Hay for being on that committee, in addition to Blair Whittington, our music librarian at Brand Library, and Maxine Salamat, who is our public arts intern, who all vetted the 172 applications that we received. So Ms. Lopez is going to review the proposals for those 2 series.
Yes, so I'll begin with the Brand Summer Music Series, which takes place July through August of 2026 on Fridays at 7 p.m. And I'll go through each recommendation that you see here on the screen. First is Bella Brown and the Jealous Lovers, which is a high-energy retro soul/funk act in the vein of Sharon Jones and the Dap Kings. And the Carl Verheyen Band, who plays many styles of guitar-centered music with a 4-part harmony. And the lead singer, Carl, was in the British rock band Supertramp for 40 years. Dust Roll Revival is a 7-piece band with horns that loves bringing back folk and funk rhythms together and Laurel Canyon-tinged harmonies. Orchestre Moto proposes a high-energy, large-format Congolese rumba and sabin performance. Rooted in the diverse history of Central African music, their performance will be a celebration of living heritage. Orquesta Ritmo Alegre is a Cuban music ensemble dedicated to preserving and revitalizing the golden age traditions of danzón, mambo, bolero, and Cuban dance music. The group explores the shared musical heritage of Cuba, Mexico, and Latin America. And the Rafijo Wartanian and the Ser Ensemble performs instrumental compositions at the intersection of Armenian folk, Appalachian bluegrass, and flamenco, along with arrangements of folk repertoire. Their performances also include poetry recitations during instrumental interludes. The Secret Agents performs retro jazz, pop, and R&B classics. They include hits from the 1940s, 50s, and 60s and are lightly theatrical, as all musicians have secret agent codenames, and there's a red telephone that rings on the stage. And lastly is Willow Stevens and The Robbery, which are well-seasoned performers who unite audiences with their contagiously joyful blend of pop, R&B, and soul. And for the Jewel City Concert Series, which takes place September through October of 2026 on Saturdays at 5 p.m. at the Arcosac Paseo, we have these below recommendations. First is Rootful, which brings a high-energy, family-friendly show of tropical music, including award-winning original reggae, Latin, and funk songs. Then the Prairie Moons, which plays vintage country, western swing, and honky-tonk. The music is danceable, heartfelt, and family-friendly, with historical banter, yodeling, and western costumes. The Start Ensemble presents fresh interpretations of Armenian, Argentinian, classical, and folk works, as well as original compositions. This musical group combines violin, piano, bass, and percussion instruments to form a diverse array of harmonious masterpieces. Voz Bohemia is a multi-generational LA-based trio romantico with a strong foundation in bolero music that also performs other genres reflecting the greater soundscape of LA and Latin America. And lastly, we have Young Tones will perform a high-energy, family-friendly soul show combining originals with their favorite covers. So we are excited to put forth these recommendations. I'm not sure if Commissioner Hay or Vice Chair Kasumian have any comments from being a part of the process, but we're very pleased with the lineup that we have this year.
Vice Chair Kasumian?
I had a good time with everybody choosing this group of musicians, and I'm looking forward to all the excitement that Brand Park and the lawn of the Doctor's House is going to be receiving this summer. I think we have a good collection of different types of music ensembles and groups, and I think the community will also enjoy them.
Commissioner Hay?
Yes, we definitely had a good time, and I think it was pretty hard job because I was pleasantly impressed and even can say shocked that the majority of applicants were very high quality, professional, knowing what they're doing, and we went through different applicants multiple times to understand which one we eventually need to choose, because choosing from the good ones were pretty difficult. But I think we made a great choices, and happy to see them on stage.
Yes, and thank you to staff for going through all the applicants. I think there was over 100.
Yes.
Yes.
Commissioner Vidor?
I'm thrilled. I am a big attender of the Brand one. I'm going to go more to the one on Artsock, but it is always fun. And the selection looks really great, very eclectic and very lively. And I'm really looking forward to this summer. Hopefully, it'll be tolerable weather for us.
Commissioner Alcock?
No comments.
Commissioner Joseph Lynch?
I really appreciate that there's a good mix of like, there's cultural influences, there's a variety of music. It's going to be really great to see.
Staff?
Yeah, it's pretty
Any
diverse.
comments? No. I also have no comments. I trust your guys' opinions. I obviously don't get to sit and watch their actual singing and performances, but I trust you guys. We've always done really well on these performances in the past, and they look great. So I don't think anything will be changing anytime soon. There'll be successful events as always. So thank you for that update.
Thank you.
Thank you. Moving on to agenda item 8, commission and staff comments.
We'll start with Vice Chair Kasumian.
If I'm being honest, the conversation of that we had earlier about Dumbo and the portrayal of the movies of the times is making me a little uneasy, not a little, quite uneasy. And I was wondering if we as a commission can release a statement that they could also showcase and have for the showings that we do not condone racism whatsoever and are fully aware of what it meant at the time, the films, and we are completely moving forward and against what it represented before.
That's what I was saying, that I created something and then they're going to display, but I can also have legal look at it first. But as an attorney, I kind of already came up with pretty good stuff and we don't have to waste city resources on it. If everybody's okay with that. And that's exactly what will be shown. Save his time and energy, sorry.
That's all.
If that's okay with you.
Absolutely.
That's what you're referring to.
That's what I
I'm
was
assuming.
referring
Okay.
to, and yes.
Okay. Commissioner Hai?
Well, thank you for your help as a lawyer in this case. So.
Free word.
Yeah, I trust your recommendations and everything you've done.
Do you have any other staff comments? Apologies. Okay, Commissioner Vidor.
Okay, I had a comment on something else, but on that subject, which is an extremely interesting subject that I think about every day because I see something that worries me every day a little bit. I think I want to understand, are we submitting the disclaimer over the commission brand, or is this from the Alex Film Society? How are the disclaimers presented? By who are they being given?
We're not in discussion item. That's the only problem right now.
Oh,
We're in
okay.
staff comments.
Something
but
to follow up on.
Okay, so maybe that's a discussion you and I can have as chair
Yeah,
and
okay, fine,
staff.
good.
Okay, but that's a very good point.
Okay, yeah. And then I just wanted to mention, and it's way far in advance, but I just wanted to let you all know that on June 27th, which is a Saturday, the Adams Hill Neighborhood Association has initiated an event which we are going to be working on together with many different people for the 90th anniversary of the Richfield Oil Company gas station, which is in June, which came about in June of 1936. And the reason that we want to do this is twofold. Obviously, this little gas station has a very interesting history, starting as a neighborhood gas station in the golden age of mobile travel. And then it spent quite a bit of time in disrepair and vacant, and then it evolved into an art space. So for a gas station, it has a very interesting history, and we are going to engage all of the other historic entities that are city owned, such as the Doctor's House, the two Adobes, the Tea House and Garden, and a few others, as well as both the Historic Preservation Commission and the Arts and Culture Commission, to somehow be involved. This does not necessarily mean money. It means engagement, because there was a little talk today about bridge building in reference to certain things, and we really feel like this has been an Adams Hill specific place for quite a while, and it's really a city resource, and it's of citywide importance, just like these other historic landmarks are. So we want to pull everybody together and create a bit of synergy between these organizations and give everybody an opportunity under one roof, so to speak, virtual roof, to look at what we have with the excuse of celebrating the gas station's 90th. So that'll be coming, and we'll see where it goes. But that's not until June, late June. So I just wanted to let you all know. When we did it, we were thinking of the commissions.
Very exciting. Yeah. Commissioner Alcope?
No comments, thank you.
Commissioner Joseph Lynch?
To Vice Chair Kastumian's point, I just want to make sure, I know he talked a lot about like, oh, this is of the time, but I also think that, like you were saying, it's important to point out, for one, this is not something that's appropriate in our current time, and that this was not something that was widely accepted or appreciated by everyone. Sure, it was accepted by people in power, the creators of Dumbo at the time, but I'm sure that people at the time were not, sitting there and seeing this and thinking, this is a stereotype of me and I'm okay with it. So I just want to make sure that there's some kind of clarification of just like, this was a thing of the time, this is not an expansive perspective, other people have experiences that you may not.
Absolutely. Thank you for that. Staff comments? Okay. I'm going to forward the disclaimers that I have prepared. If you want to then send it to them so they are aware of what's written, I think it'll cover everybody's concerns. And then we can forward that to the Alex Film Society. And those are my only comments. But thank you, everybody, for honestly a very healthy dialogue. These are the conversations we should be having as a commission. And it's our job as commissioners of the city. So thank you, everybody. If there are no further comments, we can make a motion to adjourn.
I'll make a motion to adjourn the meeting.
Do we have a second?
I'll second it.
Thank you. And no roll call, right? I need to memorize that. Okay. We are adjourned. Thank you, everybody. Have a fabulous day.